Hi there scrappers, Louise here. Thanks for checking out today's video. It is a 3 old, 3 new share. I have a little packet of goodies here. I recently did some online shopping. I'm going to go ahead and show you those from the top down so you can see what they are. And then we're going to go ahead and create a 3 old and 3 new video. We'll go ahead and we'll do some stash busting. But I wanted to show you a little bit of another project that I've been working on. I had to buy some new supplies for crafting because I have been doing some hand knitting. I don't know if you've seen on Insta or TikTok or anywhere on YouTube how to hand knit with this gorgeous chunky yarn, but apparently I didn't buy enough yarn and I had to place another order. So behind the scenes, I have been doing some scrapping, but just recently this is kind of my new little project that I'm working on. So stay tuned. You may see the finished product soon. So snuggly and cute. But let's go ahead and show you what I've got in the new range, and then we'll choose some stash items. All right, so from the new collection, I've got a Lindy's spray in Pixie Dust. Now this is a gold spray, and if you've never used these before, I do like these because they come as powder and you activate them yourself. So I'm going to mix this with some water and we're going to use this beautiful gold Lindy spray. Next I've got Simple Stories Pink Lemonade Foam Thickers. Now these are one of my favorite products. I find them really easy to use. They're a really good mix of titles and little embellishments. So I'm going to challenge myself to use as many of these on different layouts as I can and get them stash busted. And then I am mixing it with the watercolor and scribbles from Paperoo Studio. There's a great amount of bright patterned papers in this particular collection, so that's going to form the basis of my new products. So let's have a bit of a think about now what we could stash bust them with. Now generally with that watercolors and scribbles, I'm going to probably use a white background so I can keep white cardstock in mind. I do have some other Lindy's sprays that might work. I also have this one, which is Mad Hatter Mint. Now this is, or could be considered technically new because it's still not activated, but it has been in my stash for a long time. So maybe I should take this opportunity as a 3 old to use this as a stash item. So teaming it up with Mad Hatter Mint, that should work nicely with those patterned papers, and some other stash items. Ooh, I know. I've talked a little bit about my boxes of ephemera before. So I keep these by color, and I do have a whole box of green and blue ephemera. So time maybe to stash bust a few pieces from this. All right, that's 2 old products. What else have we got? I'm thinking texture. So I'm gonna go with twine. All right, so just pondering my craft process, how I think about my own creativity in terms of I've chosen a paper, I've got a title, I've got some ephemera to build clustering around my photo, which I haven't chose yet, and I've got some sprays for color and some mixed media, so that the next thing I would probably reach for would be some texture. So this is kind of leaning towards a more tealy blue with a touch of gold kind of layout, but let's sit down and see what we can create. Alrighty, so let's sit down and have a look at the supplies that we've picked out. So those 3 new products, as a reminder, are the Paperoo's paper pack, the title alphas, and then we've got the Lindy spray. And then for the old products, we have got twine, another Lindy spray, which was sitting in stash for quite some time, and the box of blue, green, and teal ephemera. So this is what I'm going to go through first, and as you see me pull bits and pieces out of here, you can kind of get a bit of a vibe of what's in this ephemera box. So over the years, through work on design teams and in kit clubs where there's printables and all kinds of bits and pieces, I've sort of collected a whole bunch of these different ephemera, and whether they're from different manufacturer ephemera packs or kit clubs where there's printables and different things available to me, I find that just for me, the best way to store them is purely by colour. If I sort them by collection, I just don't reach for them. So in my craft room storage, I just find that I don't go for them unless they're kind of in this colour matching sort of situation where, exactly like what I pulled out today, looking at the different colours available to me in terms of what I was working with, pulling out this collection from Paper Rose and then the spray choices that I had available. If I had to go looking for a collection that was going to match this particular craft setup, it just wasn't going to happen. So for me, I found that over the years, storing the ephemera by these colours just gives me an easy way to reach directly for what I need at the time. And I must tell you that it actually is really quite satisfying busting some of this stash, like pulling out these little elements and building this cluster. There's different things in here that I have not seen in some time, like there used to be like a miniature kit club where we'd get this, I can't remember what it was called, but you'd get this little packet and it would have like acrylic flowers and it would have the little paper bags in there as well. So really just a collection of bits and pieces from stash that can be really useful to just sit down and create with. So hopefully this layout gives you something a little bit different to focus on and gives you a look at items from my stash and how they store them. And yeah, hopefully I'm always about creating inspiration and letting you see what's going on in the background. I think is going to be a great way to help inspire your creativity. Now this collection from Paper Rose Studio, again another Australian company, and it is the watercolor and scribbles, and I just love this. I love the bright colors. I'm definitely a brights kind of scrapper. And when I got my hands on this collection, I think it's fantastic. And I love that there are some sort of pre-made backgrounds in there that you can just pull out and enhance. And I love that, like what you're seeing me do here gives you a chance to really individualize it to your own creativity. So you can see that I sort of started with that blue doodled light blue inspiration piece off to the right, and then I flipped it over and there were these orange kind of scribbled circles, and I pulled out another patterned paper and it was like, cool, here's some more inspiration with this darker kind of blue that has a little bit more doodling on it. So this just works really nicely. And of course, I had pulled out the Lindy's element, and so I'm going to sort of colour up this background a little bit, and I got a little bit excited and my colourings kind of extended past where I was going to place my blue stripes, but I'm going to fix that shortly as you see me start to actually stick some of this together. Yeah, I got a bit excited with the paintbrush, and that teal kind of extends past where I'm going to layer my elements, so I'm going to have to add a little something to that. But I still want to incorporate some of these really cool like doodled elements. And I think one of the great things about seeing something like this is if you don't have these particular papers, there's no reason why you can't pull out your own strip of paper and actually just doodle. Like grab a pen, a black pen, a marker, a thick pen, and make your own like patterns. These are super simple. It's just a line and some black half circles, and so effective, so fun. I think as you see me start to stick some of this down, you'll see that, hello, little pops of teal stripe poking out from the sides there. And that was not supposed to happen. So I'm going to get a little bit more creative here, and I'm going to add a little bit more teal. I'm just going to put a little stripe down the side of my blue there. And that's how this kind of striped effect almost comes together and helps me build onto the layout and use my twine towards the end. I have my cluster work already done, so it's really just about building this background. And I think it turned out really unique and interesting, and there's absolutely, again, no reason why you can't add more doodling. So using that black pen effect, I could have quite easily gone over those stripes and tied in a little bit more of that kind of black doodling effect, but I really just like where this is kind of going. And you know, it's different, and I'm taking my sort of flow from the products in front of me. So nothing too challenging here for if you're a beginner crafter and you're new to my channel. Welcome. If you're looking at getting back into scrapbooking, then, you know, hopefully you find something to inspire you here, because I simply just want to see creatives make new things and bust their stash and, you know, really just get the creativeness happening. I have a love of scrapbooking, and I want to share that with other people. So hopefully you found something here. But again, using these branding strips, I needed to keep going with my border. So yeah, cutting a few extra branding strips and remembering that I had another Lindy spray that also needed to make it on. I have the idea in my head that I'm going to add those stripes of the cotton thread. And so, you know, I've got this kind of stripy thing going on, which is nowhere near what I had in mind when I started this layout, but that's just how it developed. And these branding strips, obviously, they coordinate beautifully. They really help finish off the layout, and the whole thing comes together super easy. So I really sat down at my desk and I had fun with this and just let the creativity flow. There was no structure. There was just me and my creativity, which I think is so nice. So hopefully, yeah, you can pull something from this, whether it be to get your sprays out and use some sprays, whether it's that, you know, you want to start sorting your ephemera by color. And yeah, that's my hopefully my inspiration. I feel like sometimes I'm just here waffling, and it's just going out into the big bad world and nobody actually knows what's going on. But anyway, this layout is complete. It is my 3 old and 3 new stash busting share for you. I had so much fun with this. I hope that it's been enjoyable to watch. And yeah, leave a comment, share what you've loved about the video. Is it too long? Would you prefer shorter? Would you prefer more content with my face in it? I love to read the comments and see what you're enjoying. So as always, I thank you so much for having taken the time out of your day to watch my creativity. I'm always aiming to inspire. So with that, I wish you happy scrapping.